Good morning. So we got a couple of our ladies are at camp, and so we're praying for them as they come down, but hopefully you guys will all be there next year. We'll save you a spot. Let's overrun the camp. I like to do that. And we're starting earlier this week because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to cover in the life of Jacob. So my daughter who's in third grade, she's taking part in the spring musical. And the spring musical is based on Dr. Seuss. It's a Seussical, right? And as they're assigning parts, there are identical twins in her class, identical twin boys. And the boys were assigned the parts of the identical twin Dr. Seuss characters, Thing 1 and Thing 2. Now, as the roles were announced, the boys started fighting instantly. Rolling on the ground, punching each other. They do this often. Why were these identical twin boys fighting when they were assigned identical twin roles? Do you know? They both wanted to be Thing 1. And so they're hitting each other saying, "You're Thing 2, I'm Thing 1. And eventually they stopped, and then they continued to fight almost every time it was brought up for weeks, right? Eventually they settled. But here's the truth. I won't generalize and say all, because I've met twins. We're part of this church. We're best of friends. But there are times when twins can be competitive. There are times when siblings can be competitive. But twins, oh boy, right? And so we here are going to read one of the most famous accounts of twins in the Bible as we return to Genesis and look at Jacob and Esau. So we're going to start in Genesis 25 and verse 23. Now, in order for us to cover Jacob's entire life, I'm going to be grazing over some things. I'd like you to read them in your time, and I'll be paraphrasing some things, but I will get you through the entire story of it, hopefully well. Now, Rebekah, who was Isaac's wife, was barren. She could not have children. And so Isaac and Rebekah prayed to the living God, and God answered their prayers. And she became pregnant. Is that a good thing? The pregnancy was tumultuous. She had problems. There was things going on in her womb. And so she prayed to the living God, what's going on? Is my son, my child, okay? And this was what the living God responded to her with. Verse 23, 2 nations are in your womb. You've got twins. And 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. The one will be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. So God said, you've got twins, and they're already fighting. And then there was a prophecy that was put in place. When the time came for delivery, that struggle was just the beginning. Verse 25, the first boy came out red. All his body was like a hairy cloak. So he's got this red hair, and he's hairy. So they called his name Esau. 26, afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Why was the second son, Jacob, holding Esau's heel at the moment of his birth? He wanted to be Thing 1, right? I'm Thing 1, you're Thing 2. So do you get it? The twins were already quarreling, and that's just the beginning. Isaac was 60 years old, it says, when he bore them. Now, these boys grew up, and they grew up as polar opposites personality-wise. Verse 27, when the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field. He hunted. We just came back from man camp last week. We shot shotguns and bows and arrows, and we threw axes. Like, we would love us some Esau, right? Sit around the fire and say, Esau, tell us a story. It's like some biblical version of Gaston from the Beauty and the Beast, right? Like, he's like a man's man, right? But on the other side was Jacob. Jacob was a quiet man dwelling in tents. What we would call that these days is a homebody. And there's nothing wrong with a homebody, it's just a different personality. But you see how they're polar opposites. One is nature, living off the land, kill something and eat it. And one's gonna stay home. One is gonna be indoors. Now here's the issue, 28. Isaac loved Esau. Dad loved Esau, the older, the hairy, the red, the alpha male, because he ate of his game. Dad loved Esau because he was providing food for dad, okay? But Rebekah loved Jacob. And so we see an issue already here in the home. Now, they're already rivals in the home. But if you want to take a sibling rivalry and turn it up a couple hundred degrees, how do you do it? Mom and dad, go ahead and play favorites with them, all right? That's a good way to poison that relationship. So they grew up. They grew up as brothers. And let me tell you this. All brothers love each other. That's a scale, right? All siblings love each other. And there's a scale to that, right? But Jacob is so conniving. And he acts in such conniving ways. And one way would change their relationship forever. Genesis chapter 25, verse 29. Once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came up from the field and was exhausted. So let me ask you a question. Have you guys ever cooked stew? Yeah? It accidentally happens, right? It's an instantaneous thing. What do you got? You got to chop some vegetables. You got to get some meat ready. You got to boil it, right? I'm assuming you're not using the Instapot. The Instapot is just black magic, right? But like you got to boil it for hours for it to be stew, correct? So Jacob has been planning this. This is a premeditated thing here. Esau came in from the field and was exhausted. He's been hunting. He's been looking for game. Doesn't say whether he caught. I'm assuming he didn't catch game because he's exhausted. Maybe he did. He just doesn't have time to prepare it. Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of the red stew, for I'm exhausted." Give me some of that. You guys ever said that to your younger sibling? Yes. Now let me ask you a question. Could Esau have taken it from his younger sibling? I'm led to believe he's the stronger one, right? I believe he took many things from his younger sibling throughout their childhood, okay? But on this day, he's reasonable. Let me have some, for I'm exhausted. Verse 31. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Now, if you don't know what a birthright is, the birthright is the inheritance. They're identical twins. Esau came out first. And Jacob was so jealous of him that he was holding his heel at birth. He wanted to be first. So here's an opportunity to get the inheritance that Esau was going to get. And how did he do it? The bowl of stew. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." 32, Esau said, "I'm about to die. What use is my birthright to me?" Now here's the thing. Anyone here ever had toddlers? Right? Toddlers say things like, if we don't have Lucky Charms, I'm gonna die, right? If we don't go to Legoland for spring break, I'm gonna die, right? Right? That's something that toddlers say. And yet Esau is having a kind of a impulsive temper tantrum. Here's the truth. Was Esau gonna die in the next 5 minutes in front of him? It takes a long time to die of starvation. I hope none of you ever have to experience that. But he's hungry. Jacob said, "Swear to me now. Give me your birthright and I give you the soup." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread, lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went on his way. I like to think that Jacob was doing this as Esau ate. Maybe a right, like a villain laugh, right? Esau despised his birthright, it says. Who's wrong here? Who's wrong in this exchange of brothers? Who's in the wrong? Can't be both of them. Actually, let's go through it. Esau was so impulsive that he spurned his right as the firstborn son to continue his father's legacy. His impulse jeopardizes the family. Now let me ask you a question. This is the first time we read of it. Is this the first time that Esau's been impulsive? We're getting a glimpse of this man's character, right? So Esau's an impulsive man who doesn't respect his inheritance. You guys know or have heard of people like this. If you know of any trust fund children who are disposing of their parents and their grandparents' riches in creative ways, just washing it down the drain because they don't respect the work that mom or grandma or dad and granddad put in over generations to hand that down to them. These trust fund kids who just say, whatever, I don't care. If you've ever heard of those in society, this is what Esau is in biblical times. They don't value their inheritance, and Esau did neither. But they made a deal. So who's in the wrong? Jacob made a deal. Esau made a deal. They're two adults. They're consenting adults. They made an agreement, right? Right? So who's in the wrong? Here's the thing. There's a such thing as getting a good deal, right? If you go in to buy a used car and you negotiate $3,000 to $5,000 off that car, you know what you got? You got yourself a good deal. Right? Depending on the price of the car, right? That's a pretty good deal. But there's a such thing as taking advantage of someone. Let's say you have baseball cards. I have baseball cards, right? I have a baseball card and I want to trade it with you. You have a baseball card that I want. Let's say it's a Mickey Mantle rookie baseball card, okay? Kind of valuable. And I have a rookie baseball card, and I'll trade it with you. My rookie baseball card is, a Tim Salmon rookie card, okay? Right? Some of you Angel fans are like, that's a fair deal, right? Right? It's not, okay? It's not. The Mickey Mantle card is worth thousands, right? And so if I trade this Tim Salmon rookie card for a Mickey Mantle rookie card and we're consenting adults and we make that trade, do you know what I have just done for you? I've cheated you. I've taken advantage of you. It doesn't matter if we shook hands on it because you didn't know the value of your card and I took advantage of you. That's called cheating someone. Anyone ever here like to be cheated? Anyone here like to be taken advantage of as a consenting adult? You ever wake up the next day after being taken advantage of as a consenting adult and go, well, two adults, we're good. Jacob knew the value, Esau did not. Jacob cheated his brother. Jacob took advantage of his brother's lack of wisdom and lack of foresight. Jacob is a cheat. And he's the worst kind of cheat because he didn't cheat some stranger. He cheated his own family. And he didn't just cheat like uncle or cousin. He shared a womb with his brother. And in this conniving way, he cheated him. But hold on, let's see. This might be the only awful thing that Jacob ever does, all right? Let's keep reading. Genesis 27, 2-29. One day, Isaac, his eyes, as he's got older, his eyes were starting to fail him. All right? Let me tell you, as you get older, there's a conspiracy in every restaurant that they will shrink your menu so you can't read it, right? It's what they do. Every menu, every Olive Garden, every Cheesecake Factory, they shrink the font on it, right? It's not your eyes, right? But you need readers, right? That's a joke. No one's doing that to you, okay? Jeez Louise, I hope you guys aren't like, I'm gonna go back there and see who's giving me the wrong menu. So our eyes, as we get older, start to fail. And we will need readers, correct? You know how you treat that? With bigger glasses, okay? And so Isaac's eyes are failing him. His ears and his brain, no, but his eyes. And he's on his deathbed. He knows it's time. So he says, I'm gonna bestow the blessing on my firstborn child. He knows Esau's already sold his birthright, but he gets to be the blessed now, which is like a last will and testament, which is like a who's next in charge. Genesis 27, verse 2. He said, behold, I'm old. He called Esau next to him. Behold, I'm old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, take your weapons, your quiver, your bow, go out in the field, hunt game for me, and prepare for me delicious food, such as I love. Bring it to me so that I might eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. Right? He's like, I'm on my deathbed, son. Let's do what we used to do. Go out there. Go get me 2 good goats. Let's make some stew, and I will give you the blessing. I will put you in charge before I die. Now, here's the thing. There are no secrets in tents, okay? And Rebekah, the wife, heard this. She doesn't want Esau to be left in charge. She doesn't want him to get the blessing, and we don't know why. Is it because she loves Jacob so much she dotes on him? Maybe it's because she knows Esau's character and doesn't believe he'll take care of her when Isaac's dead, right? She's got a plan, though. She says this, Jacob, go in the stable, bring back 2 goats, I'll cook them, and we'll pretend that you're Esau. We'll pretend you're the older brother. You will steal this blessing from your brother. You will steal the rights of being the next in charge from Esau. And this is what Jacob says. But Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, verse 11, behold, my brother is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be mocking him, and he'll bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing. His mother said to him, let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go bring them to me. So who's the mastermind here? Oof, this is weird. Do you think this is the first time she's deceived her husband? Verse 17, and she put the delicious food and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. This is twice now food is used to deceive. I don't know what that means biblically. I just wanted to point it out, all right? Verse 18, so he went in to father and said, my father, and he said, here I am. Who are you, my son? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. Is that the truth? So he's lying. I've done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me. But Isaac, his eyes have failed him. Has his brain and his ears failed him? Not yet. So Isaac said to his son, how is it that you have found it so quickly? I just sent you out to go hunting and you come back with stew. Something's fishy here, right? He answered, and this is Jacob now, because the Lord your God granted me success. God blessed me. You know what's bad about lying? You know how to make lying worse? Say that God helped you. That's using the Lord's name in vain, all right? So he's really bad. Now, Isaac said to Jacob, come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you're really my son Esau or not. So here's the thing about father-son relationships, okay? You know your child, okay? Why does Isaac have to do a facial hair check to see if it's really his son? You think this is the first time that Jacob has lied to dad? You know the deal. Come near. I got to smell you. I got to see if you're the hairy dude, all right? So Jacob went near to Isaac, his father, who felt him. And he said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he didn't recognize that it was him, Jacob, because his hands were hairy like his brother's hands. They took the skin of the goat and put them all over Jacob to fool dad. It's like elder abuse at this point. So Isaac, he blessed him. He said, are you really my son Esau? And he answered, I am. There's another lie. Then he said, bring it near to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you. So he brought it near to him and ate, and he brought him wine and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled the smell of garments, the goats, and he blessed them. So now Jacob has stolen his brother's birthright, and he's stolen his brother's blessing. Is this a good guy? He's a thief. He's a liar. He co-opted God on his lie, right? He's used the Lord's name in vain. This guy is a pretty awful dude. Now, let me ask you a question. Eventually, Esau is going to know what happened. Does Esau seem to be a reasonable big brother to you? No. If you don't know that, you don't have a big brother, right? Esau is going to spill some blood. 27 and verse 41, chapter 27 and verse 41. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. Esau said to him, the days of mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. Listen, any of you guys have siblings? Anybody here have siblings? You guys ever said, I'm going to kill so-and-so? Don't lie. Come on, this is church, right? You said it, right? This is different for Esau. Esau is saying, he's got a plan. I'm not going to dishonor dad. He's on his deathbed. I will let him die. I will grieve, and the days of mourning shall pass. When it's over, I'm going to kill Jacob. And he says it like he's singing a song or a poem because his mom says he's comforting himself by saying it. It's like he's saying, oh boy, one day I'm going to kill this little twerp, right? Right? But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, said to him, behold, your brother Esau comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. Therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee, go to Laban, my brother in Haran. So she says, you got to get out of here because I know he'll kill you. Go to my brother. Now, if you don't know, if you weren't with us for the previous couple of series sermons, she's from a place called Haran, where the servants of Isaac found her by the well, watering, 10 camels. You guys remember that? And her brother Laban was there. She says, you got to go to Laban. Go live with Laban. You got to flee. And so he's got to flee for his life, otherwise his brother will kill him. So he's traveling towards Haran. It's a long journey. He sleeps under the stars one night with a rock for a pillow. And then this is what happens that night. Genesis 28 and verse 12. And he dreamed, and behold, there was a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. Behold, the Lord stood above him, and it said, I am the Lord your God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and to your offspring. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west, to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in you and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So he sleeps, and he sees this vision, which is like a God opening his eyes to the unseen realm. And what he sees is like God at the top and angels coming up and down to do their work to fulfill the covenant. Right? These are God's workers. And he says, this is my covenant that I made with your grandpa. I'm going to fulfill it through you. And he allows him to see the supernatural. Then Jacob made a vow, verse 20, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and clothing to wear, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. The Lord shall be my God. What do you call that? I call that coming to the Lord. Is that good news? Okay, so this is the easiest question I'm ever going to ask you in a church service. Is coming to the Lord good news? Okay, there you go. His life is in shambles. He's on the run, but he's coming to God. That is great news, right? So he's on his way, continuing to go towards his uncle's place. He's on the run from Esau, who's going to kill them. And he finally reaches his uncle, and this is what his uncle says. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, Jacob finally got to his land. Jacob, his sister's son, he ran to meet him, embraced him, kissed him, brought him to his house. Jacob told Laban all these things. Laban said to him, surely you are bone of my flesh. And he stayed with him a month. So Laban accepts Jacob as a fugitive and says, you will work here, you will live here, you are my flesh. He welcomes him. Then Laban said to Jacob, because you're my kinsman, you therefore serve me for nothing. What do you want to get paid? You're working here. What do you want your wages to be? Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah. The name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. Jacob loved Rachel. You guys ever had love at first sight? Jacob loved Rachel, and he said, I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter, Rachel. I will serve you if you will allow me to marry your daughter. Laban said, you got a deal. Verse 19, it's better that I give her to you than give her to any man. Stay with me. Jacob served for 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days for the love that he had for her. You know when you're in love, time flies? Anyone ever been in love? Ever been on a phone? And you're like, oh, it's been 3 hours, right? Hold on, I'm sorry. A phone is something you used to call people on and talk to them. Now you just kind of scroll and click and like. But you used to be on the phone for like 3 hours. It felt like 20 minutes. And at the end of the phone call, you would be so in love. You go, you hang up first. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up, right? He serves for 7 years. And he has a wonderful wedding night with Laban gives his prize to him, what he served for 7 years for. You guys remember your wedding night? Magical. Right? And so he has this magical wedding night. And verse 25, in the morning, behold, it was Leah. Dad pulled the old switcheroo, right? Gave him the older daughter. She probably wore a veil, right? And he said, what is this that you've done to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why have you deceived me? Laban said, it's not done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Complete this week of this one, and we'll give you the other also, in return for serving me another 7 years. Something to know about Jacob. He's a cheat, correct? He's a liar, correct? But he's also a great worker. Like, we can't deny that there was something that made Laban want him to continue on his farm, on his estate. I am doing well. I am getting more and more rich. I can't afford to let you leave. I got to find a way to trick you. And I know you love Rachel, so that's what I'll do. I've had employees, as an employer, I've had employees, and I've had people that I've had to say, they've had to leave, and I go, God bless you. Like, God bless you where you go next. And then there's other ones that I'm like, you're so good at what you do. Like, you got to stay. Now, would I trick them for 7 years of their service? Yes, I would. Yes, I absolutely would. No. But you know what I'm talking about, right? He's a good worker. Good workers are hard to find. And so he tricks Jacob to get 7 more years. Verse 28, Jacob did so and completed her week. Then Laban gave him his daughter, Rachel, to be his wife. There's something funny here, though. You guys like irony? Jacob was the cheat. Jacob was the liar. You know what Jacob got? He got cheated. Did it feel good to you? Here's the truth. You never get away with it. God's justice, God's loving, teaching way says your sins always catch up to you. You think you're going to get away with your deceit? No, never. They always get found out. And so Jacob got a taste of his own medicine, as they say. He got deceived. I wonder if he's thinking to himself, what was this like, right? God's justice means for you, if you think that you're getting away with it now, whatever, anything that you're doing, any swindling, any behind the scenes thing you're doing, you won't. You won't, because you reap what you sow. And God will, out of love for justice, repay you for what you're doing. You will never get away. One day, everything will be in the light. And right here, we see it with Jacob. Now, here's the thing. I tricked you a little bit. That's not the main point. That's a point, not the main point. So let's keep going on, all right? So Jacob is living there with a man who tricks him. He's lived there for 14 years serving, making him rich. And you know what he says? I got to take my wives. Thank you for that, father-in-law. I got 2 wives now, right? My kids, and we're going to take off. We're going to run away. We got to get out of here. And as they are running away, I'm going to skip this next part. Let's go to Genesis 31:22, Robin, 31:22. As they're running away, Rachel steals the family idols. They have idols in their house, and Laban makes a huge deal over this. Why did you take this? Where are they? And there is a chase scene that lasts for chapters, getting away from Laban, running for their lives. Now, there's something really funny about this is because didn't Jacob leave because he stole something and he had to run away? Stole something that wasn't his, that was the family's. And now Rachel has done it. Isn't it funny how God works? All right. So now Laban's caught them. Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done? Tricked me, driven away my daughters like captives of the sword. Why did you flee secretly and trick me and didn't tell me?" He says, "If you told me, we would have had a party with songs, tambourine, and lyre. Why did you not permit me to kiss my sons, my daughters?" We're thinking of grandkids here. "Farewell. You've done foolishly. It's in my power to do harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night and said, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.'" And they signed a covenant right there. And so that was his dealings with his father-in-law. And so Jacob moves on. And he says, "I've got unfinished business." And he goes and he sends messengers to try and make peace with his older brother. He's had twice. He's been cheated. I know what that's like. Right? My wife did what I did, right? I'm learning some things here. I want to make peace with Esau now. Genesis chapter 32 and verse 3. Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, instructing him, "Thus you shall say to my lord Esau, 'Thus says your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed until now. I've been a traveler, a nomad with Laban, and stayed until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male servants, and female servants. I have sent them to tell my Lord in order that I might find favor in your sight.'" What this is Jacob saying, "Can we have peace, brother? I've been living with uncle. I've learned. I'm older, right? I regret a lot." He offers a peace offering to his brothers. What's going to happen? How's Esau going to respond? Maybe he's older. Maybe he's let things go too. Verse 6, "And the messengers returned to Jacob saying, 'We came to your brother Esau, and he's coming to meet you. And there are 400 men with him.'" Let me ask you a question. If you give someone a peace treaty, a peace offering, and they respond with an army, what's the answer? The answer is no, right? No. And so Jacob is thinking, this is the last of the things that I have to deal with because of my sin. This is the last of it. He's coming with 400 guys. I got my wives, my children, my employees, all my livestock. They're all going to die because of what I did. Verse 7, "Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people who were with them and the flocks and herds and camels into two camps, thinking if Esau comes to the one camp and attacks it, then the camp that is left will escape." This is one of the hardest decisions Jacob has to make. He's got two wives, two families. He's got to divide them, his livestock, his employees, everybody. Two. And when Esau's army overtakes one, the other one gets to escape. That's his great plan. Then he prays to God, verse 11, "Please deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him that he may come and attack me, the mothers with the children. They're going to kill my family. God, can you save me?" And he's sitting on the hill, and he's watching his wealth, and he's watching his family, and he's watching everything he's worked for go in two separate directions. And he's thinking, this is what I get. This is the guy that I am. Sending my family, innocent employees ahead of me. One of them is bait. Have you ever been stuck in sin and just hated what it made you? And he's sitting there, reflecting on his life. And suddenly he's attacked. He's in a wrestling match. And he thinks, this is my brother. He's found me. He's going to kill me. So he's wrestling with Esau. But this is different. See, his brother Esau was rough. He would have just broke his arm by now. But this guy that he's wrestling, this guy is matching Jacob's strength, and he's matching him move for move, technique for technique. And Jacob realizes, I'm not wrestling with Esau. I'm wrestling with somebody else. And as Jacob is this match is taking forever till the sun comes up. And as he's reflecting on his life and he's wrestling with this guy, he realizes he's wrestling with the living God. So Jacob moves with all his might and he's trying to overtake the living God. Verse 25, it's not going to be up there. I'll read it to you though. When the man saw that he didn't prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. God, with a finger, cripples Jacob forever. But he holds on. He gets a hold of God, and he says, I won't let you go unless you bless me. But as he's wrestling with him, it's like he's saying, I won't let you go till you change me. Because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of who I am. I'm tired of my past and what I've done. Jacob is fighting God, saying, I'm not letting go. Bless me, change me, change me. I don't want to be this guy anymore. I don't want to be the liar. I don't want to be the cheat. I want peace with my family. I don't want to live on the run. And then God answers. Verse 28, God said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. Jacob's name was changed that night. Jacob's heart was changed that night. Even the way that he walked was changed that night. And here's the truth. Change happens when you wrestle with God. Change happens when you wrestle with God. Christianity is the only fight that when you lose, you win. You wrestle with the living God. He touches you and boom, your hip is out of place. But you win. Jacob believed in God. That happened further back. Jacob believed in God way back when he saw the vision, correct? But he hadn't dealt with his self yet. And God hadn't dealt with Jacob's character. And so that still needed to happen for God to use him. That is called sanctification. And so God, right here on this mountain, answers Jacob's prayer, but not in the way that he thinks. He answers Jacob's prayer by changing him. So first is belief, then is the struggle and the wrestle with God. We call that sanctification, and we all need to have it. So here's how this works. Some of you believe in God this morning, but some of you haven't wrestled yet. Some of you are unchanged by the living God. We know because you still live the same, you still walk the same, you're unchanged. Pastor, but I'm here. I'm with God. I come to church. I have a Bible. I listen to Maverick City worship. But you still live in the old nature. You still live for you and not for God. You still live for pleasure, not to serve others. But if you wrestle with God, He changes you. And here's my encouragement today. I need you to see that from Jacob's life. Here's the two ways that he was changed. The first was he was given a new name. And the new name is a new identity. So here's a test. Do you live by the old you or by the new you? The you before the cross or the you after faith? Jacob couldn't be his old self anymore. He had to come out different. He had to be Israel from here on out. Who are you living under? The old you or the new you? Here's the second way that God will change you in the struggle. You will not walk the same. With a touch, hip out of socket, unbearable pain. And he would walk that way for the rest of his life. For you, that means you won't walk the same either. You won't live the same way. So have you wrestled with the living God yet? I'd like to welcome the band out right now. We're gonna do things differently this morning. We're gonna take communion. During the song, it's gonna be a long song. Chairman of the elders, Brian's gonna be back there. I'll be in this corner. And any of you who are like, yeah, I believe in God, but I haven't wrestled with God yet, like it's still the old nature running me, we would love to pray with you in those corners during this song, okay? If that's you, like let's change some lives today. Let's leave differently than we came in, okay? For those of you who've already wrestled with God and you know where you are, then it's a time of communion. It's a time when Jesus said, take this and remember me and my sacrifice. It's by his sacrifice that our old way is broken. And so we'll take the bread representing his body together. And we'll take the juice representing the blood he shed for us together. And here's the thing. Take it at your own pace anytime during the song, okay? And then reflect on the sacrifice. Here's my encouragement today. Some of you guys came in here today, Jacob, but you need to leave as Israel, right? Some of you need to lose a fight to win. And that's what God does, all right? So let's take communion now together.
Father God, we build our lives on you, our Jesus, our Savior. For you are love, you are our firm foundation. Help us in all that we do, Lord. And give this time to you. And we love you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Well, hey, everybody, we come to a time in our service where we get to give